In the environment of programming skills, we have a very cool element that normally pops up whenever we are having our programming activities, and this element we are going to talk about in this particular video is called a batch file. In the plural form, we are going to say batch files. Now, one may ask, what is a batch file? Before I get into this batch file, this video is a beginner's guide to a batch file. So we are going to learn how to create and also execute a batch file on our Windows interface, and we are going to have an introduction to what a batch file is, and we are going to explore 2, 3, 4 examples of how to create a batch file and also execute them. So now, what is a batch file? Batch file is a file that allows computer users to automate tasks, and this special file contains one or multiple commands that run in a sequence to perform various actions with command prompt, which is known as the CMD window. It is possible to type commands manually to create a particular task or change a system settings, but this particular batch file can help you to limit the manual tasks you perform with your mouse and keyboard, and rather this is going to have an available icon on your desktop and execute an automated task for you. A batch file simplifies the work of having to retype commands, saving you time and also avoiding errors that may occur whenever you are manually typing commands in a command line interface. So how can we create a batch file, and also how can we execute a batch file on our Windows interface? We are going to use a specialized software which has a link with the command prompt software, and that software is called the Notepad. It has a command prompt software capabilities that can help us to create a batch file on our Windows interface. So we are going to introduce ourselves to a simple command, and the command we are going to use in this particular video to create our batch file is called the echo command and also the pause command. So let's get right into it and see how we can create our first batch file in this particular video. Now, on my desktop background, I have this window opened, and this window is related to a specialized software known as the Notepad, as you can see on the title bar. And this Notepad is opened, and if you want to know how to open it, just get right into your start button and then search for Notepad in this search box, and you're going to have the best match and have a click on it. Therefore, you are going to have your Notepad open on this particular interface. Now, in this interface, we are going to input our commands to create a batch file. So we are going to create our first batch file, that is to display an output text within the command prompt window. So the first command we are going to type is the echo off. After doing this, you press the enter key on the keyboard, and we are going to type the next command. So in my next command, I type echo learn programming skills channel is best to watch. I'm going to add the full stop. This means that the echo of, let me explain this individual commands to you. The echo of this command shows the message in a clean line. So when it is time for us to execute this batch file, this echo off is going to show the message in a clean line, that is a separate line, so that we can have this output. And the echo command is going to display or print out the text after the space on the screen. So this particular command is going to print out this text, and this command is going to base or rely on the echo off. Without the echo off, the message will not be displayed to us. Now we are going to add the last command, which is the pause command. Now this is the pause command, and this command, the ability of it is to allow the window to stay open after execution. So if out of these commands we are able to create our batch file and execute it, this pause command is going to allow the window to stay on the screen so that we can have a view of our output text. So this is the command that we are going to have in this notepad application. So the next thing that we are going to do is to save this in a location that we want, but for tutorial reasons we are going to save it on the desktop so that we can have a view of whatever we are doing. So what we are going to do is to choose file and then choose save as, because this is a new document. You can also hold Ctrl+S on the keyboard. You have the save as dialog box, and I'm going to move in the navigation pane and select desktop. Then we move to the file name. This is the file name field, so we are going to base on this field and type the name that we want to, but the additional elements we are going to add to the file name is .bat. You can also use .cmd. All these are going to work. You can also add .btm. All these are batch file extensions you can add to your file name. So in this case, I'm going to click in this field and type a name and add the extension. So in the file name, I have typed learn.bat, and already the desktop is my location that is selected, and I'm going to click on save. Now I am going to minimize this window because we will use this window to create the next batch file. So I'm going to click on this button. Then in this case, I'm going to refresh my system, and now I have the batch file created, and this is the file name given to this batch file. And any batch file has a symbol, that is the settings symbol, that is a gear symbol, and this shows that this is a batch file. When you place your pointer on this icon, we have Windows batch file, and it tells you the size and the date that was modified. So therefore, what we can do is to double click, or we right click and choose open, and now you can see that we have this special window open, and that is command prompt. And as I said earlier, the notepad has the command prompt software capabilities. So we have this location, and then we have this clean line that showcases us the text output. So the echo command has print this in this particular line for us. So this pause command that we added to our line of codes has enabled this particular window to stay. The only way you can exit this window is to press any key to continue. So this is going to stay on the window until a key is pressed on the keyboard. So you can press the enter key or any other key, and this is going to close your window of your printout. So you've done well in creating your first batch file on this computer system. So this is our first batch file created, and this is the beginner's guide of creating this particular batch file. We are going to execute other examples that seems to be a bit intermediate and also advanced. So let's move to the second way of creating a batch file. Let's open our notepad once again on our Windows taskbar. This time around, I am going to add a title. Now when we open this particular batch file, you can see that the title on the title bar of this CMD window consists of the line of path, that is C: Windows System 32, and we have the cmd.exe. This time around, I want to change the title, but I'm still going to maintain this output. So let's close this window. So I'm going to click at the end of the echo off, and that's going to have the cursor blinking. Let's press the enter key. So this is my title. So you type the title command and type good day. I am using good day. You can type any name that you want to have on the title of your command prompt. So I'm going to type title good day, and therefore I'll maintain the echo and also maintain the pause command. Therefore I'm going to save this on my desktop, file, and choose save as, and I'm going to select desktop, give a different name. This time around, I'm going to use the CMD extension with this file name, which is skills, and I'm going to click on save. Let me minimize this, refresh my system, and now you can see that I have my second batch file created, which is this particular icon. If I double click, you can see that I have the title as good day, and also I have this output here. This is the output, and this is the title. So this is the title, that's good day, and also we have this output: learn programming skills channel is best to watch. So in this case, we've entered into our second batch file creation. This time around, we add title to our code. Now we are going to move to the next one, so let's press any key to close this particular window. And I have already explained the codes to you. I said the echo off allows you to show your message in a clean line, and also the title displays a title on the title bar of the command prompt, and also the echo prints out your output text in a space, whilst the pause command is going to allow the window stays on the screen after execution. Now let's move to the next one. This time around, we are going to create a batch file that will allow us to open a website within our browsers on the computer system. So this time I'm going to maintain the echo off, and I'm going to delete this particular option. I'm also going to delete this one. Now in the second line of this command, I'm going to type the cd command, then press the space bar and type 2 quotation mark with space between them. Now I have this command type, and I'm going to type the address of whatever website I want to open. Therefore I'm going to use one particular site to be my directory, then I'll use a different website which is going to open directly in my browser. So what I'm going to do is type http so this is my second command line, that is cd with a quotation mark, and I have the http with the youtube.com as my site, and I'm going to press the enter key, and the next command I'm going to type is start. So in my third line, I typed start with a quotation mark and also this website address. It means that anytime I double click or open the batch file on my system, it should open the Google website. I'm going to move back to my second line and make some amendments by adding the www. Now that we have this done, we choose file, save as. Then in the save as dialog box, we are going to choose desktop. You can choose any location of your choice, and I'm going to add a name and the extension. Then you click on save. Let's minimize this. Now when I refresh my system, I have my third batch file created. So I hope we are getting the idea of creating batch files. So as I said, this enables you to perform automatic activities without stressing yourself when it comes to manual operations, or it limits the stress when it comes to manual tasking. So when I double click on this, beautifully you can see that a browser has opened, and that might be your default browser. And when you move to the address bar of the browser, we have this website open, and that is www.google.com, and that is what we typed in our command line. And this is the browser that I'm using, Microsoft Edge. Yours might be Google Chrome, it might be Opera Mini, depending on the default browser installed on your computer system. So this has beautifully opened this website, which was noted in our command line in the notepad application. So this is how to create a batch file to launch a specific website, and this batch file will always be on your computer system. Anytime you want to access google.com, you just double click without opening a browser and also typing the website in the address bar. This work is done for you within a second. So this is our third batch file. Now let's move to the fourth batch file, and this time around we want to open a specific program on our computer system. It might be Microsoft PowerPoint, it might be Excel, it might be Word, it might be Access, it might be OneNote, it might be any program of your choice. The only thing that you need is the location of such program. So let's move to our notepad application, and this time around we are going to erase this second line. and then I'm going to maintain the first quotation mark and type a location or a directory. And before then, I'm going to open my file explorer and identify the local disk C. So I'm going to open this icon. Then in the navigation pane, I'm going to select local disk C and then open program files. This is where all the installed programs are located, their directories. And I have this folder which is Microsoft Office because I want to open PowerPoint or Excel. So I'm going to double click on this, and in this interface of the Microsoft Office directory, I'm going to right click on this section, which is this name that is in the address bar, and I can choose copy address. You can also hold the Alt key and the letter D, and what this happens is that it's going to select the location, that is the address of the location. Then you can right click and choose copy. You can also use Ctrl+C on the keyboard. Now let's close this window, and then when I get to this section, I'm going to paste this address that was copied with Ctrl+V. You can also go to edit and choose paste. Any of them is going to perform this action for you. And then in this case, I am going to add a backslash, and then I'm going to type root. When it comes to this, you have to take your time so that you have the execution perfectly done for you, because batch files, you need a well planned code which will not execute a wrong or an error to you. So you have to take your time and input the right code that you want and have a perfect execution. So I'm going to add another backslash, and this time I'm going to type, this was the folder that was found in the Microsoft Office folder. Now this is done. I'm going to close it with a quotation mark. Then in the third line, I'm going to erase this, and I'm going to type excel.exe. And you know, when it comes to command prompt, you run commands using the exe. This time I'm going to click on file, or I can hold Ctrl+Shift+S on the keyboard. Select the desktop, give a name to this with the extension, and click on save. Now let's minimize this, refresh the system, and then we have this batch file created. I'm going to double click. You can see that Excel is opening, and we have the home page or the starting page of Excel. Therefore I can click on blank workbook, and then I can perform any action within this Excel window. So you can see that I have typed some data in Excel, and this window or this program was launched using the batch file that was created on our computer system. We can move back to this and then change this to PowerPoint. Now you can have PowerPoint opening on my Windows interface. So if you want to identify the names that you can input into the command line to have a perfect execution, I will show you where you need to go and get access to them. So this is Microsoft PowerPoint. I can choose blank presentation and start creating my presentation. Very beautiful and appealing on my Windows interface. So this is simply done using the batch file that was created. Any of these program files, such as the Microsoft Office programs, what you can do is to open your file explorer, and then you select the local disk C, open the program files, then you jump to Microsoft Office, and then we have this folder name as root, and then you select Office 16. Now in this case, you are going to get folders and files here, and you can glance through this Excel. So if you want to open Excel, you use this particular name. This is Microsoft Access. You need to use this particular file name, and that is going to open the application for you. Now let's jump to PowerPoint and see the name that we have for PowerPoint. This is OneNote. and this is PowerPoint. So in my execution or in my code, you could realize that I used this particular name. So in my command line, you can see that I have PowerPoint PNT, and that is what I have here. That is why I got the application open. If you use any other name or you type the full name of PowerPoint, you are not going to get the execution. Your operating system will not be able to find the particular program and have it open on your desktop background. I believe that we have a fair idea now about batch files and how they work. Most of our websites, most of our programming languages, they work with batch files, and batch files are very important. It helps execution of tasks in a simpler way and also in a faster mode as well. And I believe this video has been of helpful and we've learned something in this video. If so, please like, share, comment, and also subscribe if you've not yet joined this community that we are building. And I'll meet you in the next tutorials.